Hi there, man. So if you've got an ExpressLRS receiver and you need to flash it and you might be stuck at, say, maybe version 2.50 or maybe 2.51 and you need to upgrade to a newer version and you can't get it done, then all you really need to do is you need to plug in your drone. I'm going to show you guys this, but you guys will have a receiver and there's going to be a light that's blinking. You're going to have to wait until that light starts blinking really quickly, and it's typically after 60 seconds. So have a fan nearby for your air unit or whatever VTX you've got plugged in. Then select the new firmware. All my stuff is currently at 3.11, so I'm not even bothered about the latest version. So I'm going to go pick my target. In this case it's going to be a C receiver. I'm going to select my Nano RX because that's the only one they've got. I really don't care about any of this stuff, and you're only really ever going to use it if you are struggling. So go to Wi-Fi, way better option. And then all of this stuff you are essentially going to keep as is. Okay, I like to change that into 30 seconds because I don't want to wait 60 seconds. Screw the whole Wi-Fi thing. Everyone's making a big fuss about it, but really, how often are you going to flash your stuff? And if you are going to flash it, just build the firmware and connect to it one at a time and flash it. It's like 5 minutes of your life. Really, this whole home Wi-Fi thing, I think personally, is overrated. So I'm just adding quickly my binding phrase. All the stuff you leave as is. So in this case I do not want to be CE, so I'm going to select that one because I want to FCC. All my stuff is selected on this one, and you can read up on it if you want to, but typically just select the top one, scroll down to the bottom and then move down. So I'm not going to do build in the flash, I'm just going to say build. Now this is going to take, depending on your machine, this is not a very fast machine or whatever, but it's going to take a little while to build. So just keep waiting until it's done, and then when you get the file, your receiver should be in Wi-Fi mode already. So I'm going to keep my internet connected while this is building the firmware. I can already see that my receiver is in Wi-Fi mode because it's blinking really quickly. And if I select it and go to my Wi-Fi connection, just give it a second. Windows 11 is fantastic. Being very sarcastic, I really dislike Windows 11. Windows 10 is way better. Anyway, we're just going to give it a little while it detects the Wi-Fi. And at least the firmware is building. And there you can see it took a long time for Windows to pick it up. So it is there, it's been in Wi-Fi mode for a long time, but you just have to wait. Like this is like 3 minutes, what's it, more than that probably. Unfortunate, but there it is. So I'm just waiting for the firmware to get built, and then I'm going to flash my receiver. Same thing applies for your transmitter, exactly the same thing. Instead of RX, it's just going to say TX, same password, ExpressLRS. As simple as that. Now here's the thing, chances are you've bought a couple of receivers, most likely Happy Model or C or whatever it is, but they're all the same. You know, most chances are that you're not going to have like from every different manufacturer. So what's nice is you build the firmware, put it in the folder, flash all your receivers one by one, because you've already built it. You don't have to rebuild the firmware every single time. It's already built, so you can just physically connect and it's done. So in this case, yippee, it's done. So now I'm going to connect to my receiver. Guess, look at Windows going away, huh? It's still in Wi-Fi mode, the receiver. It's just Windows is just plain stupid. That's unfortunate. There's no real way to get past this. As you can see, Windows has already opened the directory where the firmware is saved. That's typically in your temp directory. Let's go back to my firmware. connection. Come on, stupid Windows. Just gonna wait a while till it detects it again, and then we'll connect. But as you can see, the firmware has already been compiled. Now, once again, it's so nice because I have 4 of these KPRC Nano receivers, and they're going to go into my quads, but I've already built the firmware. It's not going to change. It's going to be exactly the same for all of my receivers. So my binding phrase is in there. I'm happy to go. So in this case, once this connects, I'm just going to update the firmware, turn on the next quad, wait 30 seconds, and then update it again, and so forth. So this whole thing about connecting to your Wi-Fi, I really feel is unnecessary. The Home Wi-Fi thing, just set it up, download it, put it in the folder, do it once. I mean, how often are you really going to flash your firmware on your receivers? And let's face it, when you get a new firmware version, the chances are that there's no real benefit. Like going from 3.1.1 to 3.1.2 is essentially giving you very little advantage, and for me and for my drones it doesn't give me any advantage, so there's no point in upgrading to that version. So I'm just going to wait until something new happens, and then I'm going to upgrade. So in this case, all my stuff has been on 2.5.1 for a very long time, and only now has it been worth it to upgrade because of the backpack functions and stuff like that. So let's just wait for Windows to finally just wake up. My goodness, I dislike Windows 11 a lot. There we go. As you can see, I've not done anything. My quad is still on the desk. It just comes and goes. It's just Windows. It's not the receiver, it's just stupid Windows. There we go. Let's give it a second to connect. There we go. So update page, once again, firmware update, right over there, choose file. In this case, I already have my directory over here, so I can just click there, copy that, paste it there. No need to go try and find it throughout your machine. It's right there, don't worry about it. Firmware.bin, doesn't make a difference which one you select, and then just flash. Now yes, more settings down here about your network. Really don't care about it, just move on. Here we go, upload success. If you have a problem going from an old version to a new one, typically it's a good idea to flash every firmware version in increments. That should solve your problem. But in this case, my receiver flash was successful. My receiver stopped flashing, and now it's flashing again nice and slow. And there goes my drone as well. Here goes. My receiver is now done, and I'm just going to turn on my radio and see if it works. Remember, with ExpressLRS, your transmitter must be on before your quad is on.
TX, switch warning. Disarm, easy mode. Button.
There we go. It's on, and now I'm going to connect the quad. And there we go. I have telemetry, everything is working. Fantastic. So I'm just going to leave it in. Get my trusty cable. And let's go to Betaflight and just confirm that everything is working, and we'll set up all the switches on the quad. Receiver, S-bus, going to change the crossfire, so and there we go, it's working. So throttle is good, yaw is good, pitch is good, roll is good. Let's just go and set up our aux channels, and there we go. So how I do it, I enable a range. In this case you can see I'm adding on. I'm going to add, leave it on auto, flip the switch. See if I flip it up, it's on. Angle mode. If you're in a GPS rescue situation, you might want to use this. So there we go. I Actually, I'm just going to move it all the way up. I've already set up the sound pack on my radio as well. There's a failsafe, GPS rescue.
Return to home. Return to home.
There we go. Beeper.
Buzzer.
There we go. Momentary switch. Also controversial one, but very useful to have if you're in a very difficult situation. Maybe stuck in a tree or something like that, then you want to have that. I like to have a pre-on, just extra safety.
Danger.
Don't really care about the rest. And there we go. Great stuff. And click save. There we go, just one more check to make sure everything is correct. So if I arm it,
Disarm. Arm.
it's going on.
Disarm.
Put it into acro mode.
Acro mode on.
There we go. Actually,
Easy mode. Acro mode on.
there we go, it's acro.
Easy mode.
There we go, GPS rescue.
Return to home. Return to home.
There we go. My beeper. Let's
Buzzer.
go. Just make sure you don't overlap anything, because if you overlap it, you're going to have problems where the switch might just not work.
Turtle mode.
There we go, turtle mode's
Return to
working,
home.
and my pre-arm is working as well.
Danger.
And that is it. Save, better flight forward, .4, nice new one, and that is it. Okay, if you have any questions, please post in the comments below, but this is really as simple as that.